It's April 6th, 2020. The country is locked down for about 3 weeks. Schools are closed, offices are closed. Subways are not technically closed, but the New York ridership is down by 92%. Almost the entire American workforce is at home, on the couch, in front of the television, doing nothing. And that day, that specific day, Jeffrey Katzenberg, the man who bought you DreamWorks, launches a streaming service designed exclusively for people watching short videos on their phones during their commute. 6 months later, it will be gone. The company, who raised over $1 billion and has spent roughly $1 billion on original content. They hired Liam Hemsworth, Sophie Turner, Idris Elba, Kevin Hart, Reese Witherspoon, Anna Kendrick, and yes, even the man himself, Steven Spielberg. It was built with patented technology called Turnstile that rotates the picture as you flip your phone. It will have Meg Whitman, former CEO of eBay, and Hewlett Packard running operations. In 6 months, the whole thing will be sold for parts to Roku for only $100 million. This is the story how the most funded launch in streaming history died in less than 6 months. I'm Ian. This is Epic Fails. One dead startup per week. What they promised, what it cost, and what it launched. This is the story of Quibi. Okay, so I'm going to level with you here. I got Claude, my good friend Claude, to write a script for a podcast. I said I wanted it to be business based about epic fails. So I'm going to be reading the script. I'm also going to be opening a scotch. And we're going to start here. Some of it's going to be scripted. Some of it's going to be rants. Some of it is going to be just what I think. So let's dive into it. So to understand Quibi, you have to understand the man and the problem. And that man is Jeffrey Katzenberg. By 2018, he is in his 67th year. He has spent the 70s and 80s running Walt Disney, and he has greenlit The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and Lion King. Jesus Christ. Like all the big ones. That's insane. So he goes, he does the golden generation of Disney to then do DreamWorks, which is Shrek. Wow. Okay. So after a feud with Michael Eisner, he left and co-founded DreamWorks with Steven Spielberg and David Geffen, three of the biggest names of the 20th century in Hollywood, in one company. Oh yeah, so he goes at DreamWorks, has Shrek, Madagascar, Kung Fu Panda. That's mad. So he basically made our childhood, if you're of a certain age, which I am. Cheers. So by 2017, he sold DreamWorks Animation to Comcast for $3.8 billion. He had a fund, and he was looking for his next project. The problem he saw was people spending more time on their phones, and most of the time it was on YouTube. This was paying for top creators tens of millions of dollars a year. Snapchat had a generation of glued to its stories, and nothing in Katzenberg's view was professional. Okay, so he's trying to professionalize the streaming service. None of it had production value, and none of it had stars. None of it looked like television. Well, duh. Katzenberg's pitch. Okay, so he gave this pitch to virtually every speaking engagement between 2018 and 2019. That was the smartphone had been created a new category of viewing. It was called in between moments. The 7 minutes of time spent on the subway, 15 minutes before a meeting starts, and 10 minutes before waiting for a coffee. He talked about the kind of religious specificity as if there was a Moses describing the geography of the desert. Okay, all right, yeah, I get that. Yeah, we all watch something right before we do something else. Like literally, I make a coffee and I put a YouTube video on. So he was onto something, for sure. In all those moments, this theory went. People had nothing good to watch, and YouTube had cat videos. Netflix was the nights at home. There was a gap. And in that gap, Katzenberg proposed pouring Hollywood premium scripted shows, movie stars, real budgets, but in the chapters of 10 minutes or less, designed to be watched vertically on a phone. He called it Quibi. I mean, it's an awful name. It's a terrible name. I mean, TikTok shit, let's be honest. But I get it. YouTube's okay, but Quibi, I don't know. Does that even... I don't know. It doesn't start well. I mean, names don't mean a lot, but yeah. Jesus. Okay. Short and quick bites. And in August 2018, he secured $1 billion. I mean, $1 billion. I guess he did create our childhood. So, yeah. All right. Yeah. And the company had been launched. Anything. Wait, hold on. And in August 2018, he secured $1 billion in funding. Hold on. So he had $1 billion and he went and got $1 billion. Honestly, here I am with not a pot to piss in, and this guy's securing $1 billion. Yeah, fair. The investor list read like the chart at the Oscars. Disney, NBC, Sony, Warner, Lionsgate, MGM, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, plus Alibaba. Yeah, that is one hell of a list. To run the company, Katzenberg hired Meg Whitman, who in 1998 walked into a small auction site called eBay. I hate eBay. Fuck eBay. With 30 employees and turned it into a global e-commerce platform and a shit show of thieves. After she had Hewlett Packard as well. How did this fail? She then run for governor of California. How much time does she have? And this is pre-Claude. This is one busy woman. She literally can't even shower. Anyway, okay, let's crack on. She was one of the most experienced operators on the planet. In January 2020, 3 months before launch, Quibi raised another $750 million. Where did this money go? Like, seriously, what were they doing? Bringing the funding to 1.75 billion. So he didn't actually put his own money in. He didn't put his own money in because there was the billion at the beginning and then they raised another 750. Unless my maths is off, because, you know, I'm completely stupid when it comes to maths, but whatever. Okay, let's move on. If you're not going to put your money where your mouth is, that's not good. That's not good. Anyway. At the point, Quibi had no users, no customers, no product live in market, and the evaluation higher than most public media companies. Yeah, that's mad. That's mad. And the launch was set for April 6th, 2020. Okay, right. According to Claude, we are meant to have a break now. Now, the podcast has no ads, so we're just going to move past this. Actually, no. Use Deficit, the app on iOS and Android for losing weight. It's an incredible app. You should use that. Okay, let's move on. Why it sounded brilliant. I want to do something slightly uncomfortable here. which is to tell you why this is not a stupid idea. It is easy now with hindsight to laugh at Quibi. Yes, it is. To roll your eyes at the idea of a premium scripted television designed for a bus stop. To point out that TikTok existed, that YouTube existed, and already watch Netflix on your phone for free with a subscription you already had. But in 2018, the case was real. Let me make it to you. Let me make it for you the way that you would have been pitched. Point one, average smartphone screen time would be climbing about an hour per year. And the majority of growth was video. Yeah, that's true. Most of the video was poor quality. Yeah, that's true. Premium content was almost entirely consumed on television or laptops, and there was a real measurable gap between the attention going from phones to the production money that was spent on TVs. Yeah, okay, that's true. 2018 was a different time. Definitely to 2020. I mean, you didn't have to get, you weren't stuck inside all the time. So, yeah, there's a simpler time. It was 2018. Nah, no, I can't think of anything funny about 2018. I got married in 2018. So, yeah, things were different. Okay, point two. Younger viewers. The under 30 cohort, they were not subscribing to cable. They were watching broadcast television on their phones, but they were watching enormous quantities of YouTube and Snapchat. And they had a smartphone. They had the smartphone native habits, and they were being served the traditional Hollywood economics. This was the same demographics in sight that had Netflix, the winner of 10 years earlier, and then Spotify, and then TikTok. Point three, 10-minute format was not arbitrary. It was intentional thread between movie and television. The average commute on a major American cities is 27 minutes. The average lunch break is 45. The average time between picking up your phone and putting it down again. Depending on which study you read, everywhere between 3 and 12 minutes. A single episode would fit into one of those windows, and a full season of 7-10 episodes could be consumed over a week. Bingeable and commute sized. Okay. So they were going to produce a single episode would fit in those windows. So somewhere between 3 and 12 minutes an episode. It's just really dumb, that bit. Really dumb. Because you watch TV shows when you're comfortable. And I used to watch TV shows on my train journey, which used to be like an hour. So if you want quality content, it's just really dumb. But I guess, yeah, with hindsight, it's 2020, isn't it? Not the year, the vision. Right, point four. The competition was not really other streamers. The competition was scrolling. If Quibi could be the thing that opened instead of Instagram, instead of Twitter, instead of TikTok, then it was competing against habits, not against HBO. The habits in 2018 were the gold rush. Every venture firm on Sand Hill Road, what's Sand Hill Road, was funding companies that fought for the default screen time. I don't know what Sand Hill Road. Comment in the comments if you know what Sand Hill Road is. Point five, and this is the most important one. Quibi's bet on premium content matched the real trend. The 2010s was the decade of prestige TV. House of Cards, How good was Game of Thrones, by the way? Like, fucking great. And then went absolutely shocking. I can't believe they've mentioned that in here. I guess they're talking about it being prestige, but that drop off was insane. Like proper shit. Arya just stabbing. Spoilers. Arya just stabbing the Night King. Ridiculous. Was it Arya? Yeah, it was. Arya Stark. Yeah, just horrendous. Breaking Bad. Now that's a good TV show. You need to get involved in Breaking Bad if you haven't. Okay, audiences had been trained to associate famous actors and high budget with quality, and they were willing to pay subscription fees for it. Netflix had spent $15 billion on content in 2019. 15 billion. Jesus fuck. Disney was launching Disney Plus that year. Apple was launching Apple TV. HBO was launching Max. HBO Max. Everyone was spending billions to compete with prestige. Quibi's pitch was take the exact prestige bar and pour it into a different pipe. Same writers, same actors, same production value, different duration, different devices. If there was a media savvy operator in 2018 hearing that Jeffrey Katzenberg with Meg Whitman as CEO and $1 billion committed, it wouldn't sound crazy. It sounded frankly kind of obvious. And that what makes the death of this company so destructive. Okay, so we're now on to Act 3, according to Claude. This is the crack. So what actually happened? Okay, we let you walk through this roughly order of Quibi's leadership, and you can see the cracks for yourself. The first crack appeared at launch. In months before April 6th, the team understood late that they will. Hold on. In the months before April 6th, the team understood late, but they were understood that positioning was the problem. Quibi was charging $4.99 a month with ads, $7.99 without. The product was short premium videos. The competition was short free with TikTok, short video on Instagram Reels, free short videos with YouTube Shorts. To justify the price, Quibi needed users to feel like they were buying something different. The strategy for proving the difference between the talent was apparently around $100,000 per minute of content, a number that scales to roughly 6 million for every single 10-minute episode. 6 million for every 10-minute episode. Jesus. 10 minutes for $6 million. I'm gonna have some scotch. They cast Liam Hemsworth as the lead in the thriller called Most Dangerous Game, in which he plays a man who agrees to be hunted for sport in exchange for money. That actually sounds good. I'd watch that. I would watch that. So he's being, so there's like the Running Man. Yeah, I'd watch that. So motherfucker just like gets Liam Hemsworth as well. That's someone that you want to have chased down and killed, right? I mean, maybe not a Hemsworth. Not a Hemsworth. You know who would make a good person to hunt down and kill? Maybe one of the Trump family. Maybe not Donald. That wouldn't be funny. I'm not going to pick the one. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. Or a Kardashian. I would pay good money. Good money. I'd sign up next week to watch Hunting the Kardashians. That would be good. That would be a good show. And the thing is, in America, they have a lot of guns. So this could be possible. If this podcast makes it big and, I came up with that, somebody note it down. I wouldn't mind getting that dollar. Okay. And Sophie Turner, fresh off of Game of Thrones, in a plane crash drama called Survive. That sounds boring as shit. And they hired Steven Spielberg to do a horror anthology called After Dark. Now you can already see the crack. I mean, yeah, the problem is here. Steven Spielberg doesn't really do horror, for one. That's like red flag number one. Two, you can't do short form horror. You build to it, don't you? Like, how are you watching this on a phone? You don't want to break. You want the tension to build. Get scared. Hide behind a couch. Like, that's what you do with a horror. Like, you can't do that on a train. Can't do that on a bus. I mean, you could. You get some looks on you for it, but yeah. I can see why this fucked up, to be fair. Okay. Oh, designed to be watched only between sunset and sunrise. So your phone's internal clock would unlock a new episode at night. Well, then that's not what this was made for. You fucking dicks. Okay. This was made for commuting. For fuck's sake. Okay. This is not real. None of this is parody. Yeah, this is insane. Okay, so that was crack one. Second crack. The product launched on April 6th, 2020. As I said at the top, everyone was in lockdown and commutes had vanished. Coffee lines had vanished. Lunch breaks had vanished. I mean, how are you watching Steven Spielberg's After Dark anthology in a lunch line? Unreal. Anyway. Billions of dollars, people. Billions. Okay, right. The negative space that Quibi was designed to fill had disappeared. It had deleted the human life overnight in every major city in the developed world. This was bad luck. Katzenberg went on when asked about this. Was this an attribute virtually the entire failure of Quibi to be this single fact? He was wrong. No, not just this. But we'll come back to that. Okay, so the third crack. People downloaded the app and the launch, it did get downloads. About 1.7 million in the first week. They discovered it when they could not watch Quibi on their televisions. Okay. What do you mean you couldn't watch it on their televisions? Okay, I'm guessing that's coming. Quibi, in April 2020, could not stream to TV. Holy shit. You could not airplay it. You could not cast a Chromecast. The whole premise was that it was on your phones. So the engineering team had built a phone-only experience. So picture this. On Saturday night in April 2020, you have a 65-inch television on an empty couch in a global pandemic and a free trial to a premium streaming service starring Liam Hemsworth, Idris Elba, Anna Kendrick, Sophie Turner, and you cannot put the content on the largest screen in your house. Okay. Okay. This was a choice. Quibi's team believed that allowing the TV casting would dilute the brand promise. You could just imagine them sitting pre-lockdown. Some bastard came up with that in a meeting, and it's so going to come back to, like, it wasn't going to come back to bite them. They didn't know at the time that the Chinese were about to release this virus on us all. That's so good. Oh, could you just imagine being in the meeting afterwards? So good. What do you mean it doesn't work on TVs? Oh man. Ah. In 2020, screenshots of clips were the entire engine of the cultural conversation about TV. Tiger King became the Tiger King, which, because every line, every haircut, every absurdity of this was screenshotted, gifted, memed, and posted 30 million times. Quibi shipped with a screenshot button tapped over. Tiger King, what a show. The fifth crack. There was no community feature, no sharing, no comments, no clipping. The only way you could talk about Quibi show was to leave Quibi. Yeah, that's dumb. The sixth crack, and this is the one that Whitman's own internal team apparently knew about, was that the shows were not, in fact, that good. There were exceptions. Most Dangerous Game was reviewed reasonably well. A documentary or two landed. But the average Quibi show, watched in the format Quibi insisted upon, was strange. It was neither movie cut up, which is what you would actually want, nor a piece of native short form storytelling like something you get on TikTok. It was awkward. It was an awkward middle thing, exactly like I said at the beginning. It would be awkward. The production value of prestige television and the structural integrity of nothing in particular. The reason that no one really knew how to write 10-minute chapters. Yes, no one does know how to write 10-minute chapters. That's why, wow. The format had no rules that Hollywood writers were trained in to write 22-minute sitcoms and 50-minute dramas and 100-minute films. Ask them write 7-minute chunks, and they wrote that amount of truncated television. Quibi shows often felt like a regular show that had been chopped up into pieces with a butter knife. I mean, yeah, pretty fucking obvious. The seventh crack, my God, we're on seven cracks. This crack nobody in Quibi could fix because it was structural. If you take 1.7 billion content budget and you put it into a service that targets 20 million paying subscribers, which was Quibi's stated goal, you need those subscribers to be worth a lifetime value, somewhere around $90 to break even. At $5 a month, there's an average customer lifetime of 18 months. Streaming service would kill for 18 months. Let average lifetimes. Hold on. So $5 gives you an average lifetime of 18 months. Streaming services want 18 months average lifetime. Industry numbers, especially for new entrants, hover closer to 6. Wow. Quibi was also going to need to retain users at a rate no streamer had ever achieved. Wow. In a category no one had asked for, against free competitors, with content that worked best on the smallest screen its customers owned during a pandemic. that had eliminated its core use case. Wow. By July 2020, 3 months in, Quibi had 8 million downloads and it had converted fewer than 10% of trial users to paid subscriptions. They publicly admitted that they were not on track to hit the 4 million subscribers in the first year, let alone 20. In September, Whitman and Katzenberg reportedly approached Facebook, NBC, Warner Media about a sale. None of them were interested and implied that the evaluation. None of them were interested at the implied valuation, which was still rumored to be over $1 billion. By the second week in October, the board agreed to shut the company down. Wow. Okay. Act 4. The Death. On October 21st, 2020, Meg Whitman sent an email to staff. I want to read part of it to you because it is in this way the most small masterpiece of corporate writing. She wrote, "Our failure was not for lack of trying. We've considered and exhausted every option available to us." End quote. I don't think they did. I just going on what we've heard. I don't think they've exhausted every option. This is October 2020. So just spitballing, for fuck's sake, you could have brought in YouTubers at any point. And paid the minimal. I mean, you could have brought in TikTokers. And paid them minimal and actually saved money. Because you wouldn't have writers. You could have actually have stopped TikTok being the scourge of our generation. I know that's not what they were trying to do, but I don't think this exhausted every option is acceptable. I mean, I say that with hindsight, watching it now, but yeah. Okay. Note the rhetoric move. Failure is acknowledged, but the door is held open. Faintly to the idea that the failure is external, that the circumstances were impossible and the team had no choice. That the door is that one Katzenberger walked through repeatedly in the months that followed. In the New York Times interview, he made in the same week, he said, I quote, "I attribute everything that has gone wrong to coronavirus, everything, but we own it." And so he's blamed coronavirus. I mean, possibly a bit. That sentence is one of the greatest paradoxes in recent history of business apology. Everything is the virus fault, but we own it, both at once. Yeah. 6 months, 1.75 billion raised, about $1 billion spent on content, roughly. I mean, if you're Liam Hemsworth, you are fucking laughing at this. You've got paid millions for nothing. And who is it? Idris Elba? Insane. Roughly 100 million recouped by selling the content library to Roku. Roku. And they still... Okay, the Roku channel still streams the old Quibi shows for free. Repackaged as Roku Originals. Nice. Which is your own quiet humiliation. Because the shows are are now exactly the free ad-supported watch it on your TV product that Quibi was specifically not. Katzenberg, as of this recording, is still in Hollywood working on new ventures. Whitman, who went on to become a United States ambassador for for Kenya? This woman is on fire. The Quibi engineers and producers scattered to other streaming platforms. Oh, here's Liam. Liam went back to action movies, and Sophie Turner went back to Marvel. Quibi's patents of turnstile technology, which I don't think is a patent, if I'm honest. It's not a patent. The rotating picture magic that was supposed to be its defensible moat have not, to my knowledge, ever been licensed to anyone. Yeah, because it's shit. Like, what do you mean? It's a patent. It's not a patent. You can code that in less than a day. What am I saying? You could code it in an hour with Claude. So, the lesson in Act 5. What does Quibi actually teach us? Katzenberg's version of the lesson is bad luck, pandemic killed us. I want to argue that that is wrong. Yeah, it is wrong. Or at least is a slither of a larger lesson. Quibi would have died without COVID. It would have died more slowly but less dramatic. Here are 4 things that I think Quibi actually teaches you if you are building anything. Lesson 1, distribution is not a feature, it is a product. Quibi did not lose because their content was bad. The content was on average fine. They lost because they made an active choice to wall off their content from screens people wanted to watch it on. I mean, it would have taken minutes to set up casting. Minutes. So odd. Even though YouTube didn't have casting on shorts for a very long time, which pissed me off quite a lot. Yeah. So YouTube survived, which is interesting. Every time customers wanted to put Quibi on their TV, they could not, and they were being told, yeah, but to be fair, YouTube allows you to put other stuff on your TV, so you couldn't put anything, so that's shit. Every time a customer wanted to put Quibi on the TV, they could not. They were being told by the product itself, that the company's vision mattered more than the customer's behaviour. That is not a position any consumer brand can hold on for long. Yeah, that's fair. Lesson 2, cultural products require prowess. The reason Netflix shows blow up is that screenshots and clips and GIFs travel through Twitter and TikTok, through group chats, and produce conversation about the product. Quibi shipped with screenshots disabled. Damn. They paid $1 billion for content that they turned off, and the mechanism for content becomes culture. If you're building anything that depends on word of mouth, ask yourself this: have I made it easier for fans to evangelicize me, or am I making them work for it? Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. Why would you turn it off? Fuck, why would you turn it off? I know. I want to show my wife this show. I want to show my boyfriend this show. Unreal. It's just so dumb. Lesson 3. A founding team's age and Rolodex can be a feature or a poison, and you cannot tell which until later. Katzenberg's investors list was extraordinary. His credibility raised $1.75 billion in 18 months, but that same network, Hollywood executives all all roughly his age, all with similar promises about their television. How it gets made meant that nobody senior in the room asked the obvious questions. Why would teenage children pay $5 a month for this when TikTok is free? Why would my wife and I on Saturday night watch 10 minutes of Sophie Turner in a drama on our phones rather than 2 hours of Sophie drama on television? Yes. The questions of a normal person would ask in 20 seconds. Normal person, guys. I'm a normal person. Thank God I'm a normal person. Well, none of Quibi's leadership asked this question. Okay, so lesson 4. And this is the one operators most often miss. Timing covers a multitude of sins, but never all of them. Quibi was the worst possible launch at the worst possible moment, and Katzenberg is right, and that pandemic mattered. But if you stripped out of the pandemic and ran the experiment again, Quibi would still have launched into a world where TikTok had passed 2 billion downloads and YouTube Shorts was about to launch. There was casting issue that they still annoyed users, and the format mismatch would have still produced strange shows. The pandemic compressed the death into 6 months. Without it, it would have been 18. Bad timing is real, but bad timing is also the easiest lie a failed founder can tell themselves. Because not only is it the diagnosis that does not require changing, it's how you build the next thing. Okay. So the outro to this podcast. Quibi, in the end, is a story about confidence outrunning curiosity. Katzenberg was confident he understood attention. Whitman was confident she understood scale. The investors were confident that they understood Katzenberg and Whitman. None of them apparently were curious enough about what an actual 24-year-old would actually do at 6 p.m. on Tuesday with $5 in their pocket and a phone in their hand. A 24-year-old with $5 in their pocket and a phone in their hand. It's pub time in my opinion, but whatever. Yeah, Jesus. She would not, it turned out, watch Sophie Turner survive a plane crash in 47 second installments while sitting on a non-existent commuter train during a pandemic. She would watch TikTok. She does. I'm Ian. This was Epic Fails. And next week, we're going to talk about the human AI pin. I have no idea what that is. $230 million in funding. Returns exceeded fails